Hello, guys. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sports News with Esco. I am your host, Nicholas Escobar. Today, my two special guests are Ryan Hilgendorf from St. Louis, who is a St. Louis Blues, Cardinals, and Chiefs fan. Welcome to the show, Ryan.
For having me, Nick. I'm excited.
Okay. My other guest is Benjamin Dorn, Chicago native, who is a Bears, Blackhawks, Bulls, and Cubs fan. Benjamin Dorn, thank you for coming to the show.
Thank you, Nick. Excited to be here.
Okay. Okay, guys, so this is my first episode on Sports News with Esco. So please go subscribe, like, and comment on my videos. I've just posted YouTube shorts lately this week. My best friend Ryan has his own podcast and his own sports page called Locker Room Debates. Please go follow his page. He needs more followers.
There'll
Okay.
be a lot more collabs between me and Sports News with Esco.
Yep. Okay. On today's episode, we're going to be talking NFL, NBA, and we're going to be talking about the upcoming Super Bowl coming in 2 weeks in New Orleans. We got a rematch between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay. First off, we're going to start with NBA first. So let's start right here. Now, the NBA has been so fun to watch this week. Honestly, me and Ben are big time Bulls fans. The game last night between the Chicago Bulls and the Denver Nuggets, fourth quarter, when Matas Buzelis crossed ankled Aaron Gordon with over 8 minutes left to go. We'll start with Benjamin Durham. I'm going to ask you this question. What do you think about that play last night of Matas Buzelis?
Just an unbelievable play by him. I would really like to see more minutes out of him as the season goes on. You look at the Bulls' record, and the record it's not impressive. We're a playing team, maybe that 10th spot. You got Philadelphia coming up from that 11th spot. I just want to see the rookie get more minutes, Nick, and I don't really understand the decision making these days with the Chicago Bulls, but I'm sure at the end of the season he'll get more minutes to really prove himself. That he is the guy in Chicago moving forward here.
Okay. And another question I got for you, Ben. Even Matas was on the Windy City Bulls for a couple of weeks, but he's improving his game well as a rookie. Do you think that Matas Buzelis should be a starter, Ben?
Yeah, of course, Nick. I mean, prior to the draft, he could have went number one overall. He slipped down to the Bulls, and you might as well start him with the record we got, with the players we got, with the trade deadline coming up. I would say give him more minutes, see what he's about, and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I would for sure start him, Nick.
Okay. And another question I got for you, Ben, and I know you're a Bulls fan like me. Should Zach LaVine be traded to the Suns or the Bucks, or should he stay with the Bulls because he's averaging over 30 points per game? Do you think Zach LaVine deserves to leave Chicago, or does he deserve to stay in Chicago and then they trade Patrick Williams and Torrey Craig for some lethal shooters and for some really good dog players, and they can also trade Javon Carter? Do you think that should happen?
I think the Chicago Bulls should trade Zach LaVine.
Okay. What team do you think Zach LaVine would go to in general?
I think Zach LaVine on the Milwaukee Bucks would make the Bucks an NBA Finals contender. And I just think the
Okay.
Chicago Bulls should do this and get some picks back from him. We're a young team right now. Let's go all young. Let's go to a full rebuild. The decision with Billy Donovan has to be discussed in the off season. And I think the Chicago Bulls should go on a full rebuild because the record just doesn't show it, Nick. You trade DeMar DeRozan away, and the record's just getting worse. Brother.
Yeah, I agree, Ben. I mean, the record's getting worse. It's not just, LaVine or Kobe White having great points per game. It's just you don't got good enough players. You have players that are mid. You don't got enough star players on the team in order to have the best team in the Eastern Conference. Because you look at other East teams like Boston, like Milwaukee and Orlando, you got other teams that are just really good right now because they got star players. I mean, Boston doesn't have any mid players right now on the team, just like the New York Knicks. They don't got any mid players too. So the Bulls, though, I mean, I would agree, trade Zach LaVine, get a full rebuild, and hopefully let's see what our draft picks are. I mean, I would say right now, we would tank up and keep losing more so we can get good draft picks.
And Nick too. Zach LaVine's contract obviously is a big concern. He got the max dollars, and how much can he get back for that? Who wants to pay Zach LaVine the max dollars in the NBA? That's the biggest question moving forward with Chicago Bulls.
All right, Ben. Thank you for that. Okay, next question right here is going to go to Ryan Hilgendorf. Okay, Ryan. So it's been a struggle for the Miami Heat lately, and Pat Riley, first off, is really upset with Jimmy Butler, and same with Eric Spoelstra. Now, for Jimmy Butler, though, he's now being suspended 3 times because he's not showing up for practice. He's not showing up for team meetings. He's not showing up for games. What makes you think that Jimmy Butler is making excuses this season just because he wants out of Miami and he wants to get traded to the Suns? How does that make you feel, Hilgi?
I think Jimmy's a great player, but honestly, I don't know. I think he's 35 now, and we've seen it past few years when he got traded to Miami. He's led them to 2 finals. Both have been losses, though, to the Lakers in the bubble and then the Nuggets. And I don't know if he has that supporting cast around him. So now it's time. He's 35. If he wants a ring, he's doing anything he can do to get out of Miami, because Miami, they're tough in the East. You got Boston, Milwaukee, the Knicks. You have a scrappy team like the Bulls, maybe too, that could take them down. Anybody out there in the East. And then if you go to the West, pretty much an open fight out there. You got the Suns. You get the big 3 out there: KD, him, and Booker. You go to the Warriors with him and Steph. Lakers, him, LeBron, AD. He could have his ring this year if he wanted to.
Okay. So I want to ask you this: what team do you think Jimmy Butler would go to, and who will the Miami Heat pick for that trade deadline?
So right now, I've been hearing with him being suspended for the 3rd time, I think the Heat before they were wanting to get a lot of value for him, but now they just want him gone because he's too much of a locker room distraction. So I think the big one would be the Suns, I think, but you just have to somehow match the contracts. You'd have to have a 3rd or 4th team in there with a trade. If anything, I really think low key, I think the Lakers would need him. I think he goes out there, helps LeBron get another ring. AD, they give him a lot of picks and a few young players, and the Lakers go all in before LeBron retires.
So my other question to you is, if Jimmy Butler goes to the Lakers, can the Lakers come back this season in the West, make the playoffs, and do you think Jimmy can try to win a ring with LeBron James and AD and Austin Reeves? Do you think that's going to happen if Jimmy Butler goes to the Lakers?
I think they would be a strong contender. I think they might still be, since they're a little bit back, I think they would be that middle 5 or 6 seed, maybe 4th, because you got OKC, the Nuggets, lots of good teams out there. But I think they would be a Western Conference Finals team. They got the veterans out there. Jimmy's been to the finals. LeBron's won. AD's won. All of them would be. They got the new coach with JJ Redick. So I think they would be able to make some noise out there in the playoffs.
All right, we shall see what happens. My other concern is that the Phoenix Suns are wanting an interest in Jimmy Butler, but I don't know where Bradley Beal would go on that point, because rumors are saying that if Jimmy Butler goes to the Suns, the top 3 stars would be Kevin Durant, Jimmy Butler, and Devin Booker. And where do they end up trading Bradley Beal to?
I don't know. That's why I think they would need a 3rd or 4th team, because Miami, I think if they got rid of Butler, I don't think they would want to take Bradley Beal's contract, and Bradley Beal's older too. So I think somebody would have to eat that money with a couple of 1st-round picks. He's got like $53 million contract right now. He's supposed to bump up to like 55 and 57 over the next 2 years. So if somebody wants to take that contract, it'll be interesting. I wouldn't be surprised if he got bought out soon either, though.
Yeah, me neither.
Earlier back like a month ago, he got moved from the starter to the bench. So that shows something.
Yeah, it sure does. Okay, moving on. So now we're gonna talk about NFL now. So first off, and as you know, that me and Ben are Bears fans, but you yourself, you're a Kansas City Chiefs fan. Then we got Super Bowl coming in 2 weeks. So my question I want to ask you, Hilgi, since you're a Chiefs fan, how did you feel about the last time the game, the AFC Championship game, how Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, how Patrick Mahomes put up like was it two or three touchdowns, and basically this is his fifth time in his NFL career that he is going to the Super Bowl. How do you feel the hopes of Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs right now? Can they be the first NFL team to three-peat?
Yeah, you're right, Nick. I think the other night after the Bills lost to the Chiefs, Josh Allen said it the best. He said, if you want to be the champs, you got to beat them, and nobody's been able to beat them so far, really, out of the past 7 years since Mahomes has been in the league. In the playoffs, only two people that we've seen is Brady's beat him in the AFC Championship and the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow's beat him in the AFC Championship. Other than that, he's beat everybody else in the playoffs. So I think luck is on their side. I think they'll be the first team to win a three-peat, and they'll get their fourth ring in 5 seasons.
This is going to be like how Patrick Mahomes
Or
is
six.
following Tom Brady. You know, if you want to talk about the best quarterback, you got Patrick Mahomes, you got Tom Brady, Joe Montana, Troy Aikman. Those guys won a lot of rings with great teams because they knew that they were better than other quarterbacks back in the old days. And now you got the new one, Patrick Mahomes. I mean, the guy's a three-time Super Bowl champion MVP. He's been in commercials like State Farm and Hunt's Ketchup. He's been in a lot of stuff, and that's what made him famous. That's what made him a great quarterback, was to have great teammates, a great mindset and discipline. And he's been putting all that work, and he's got a great head coach of Andy Reid. Andy Reid has been showing really good talent to his team, really good coaching. Andy Reid is proud to go to the Super Bowl again as a head coach. And I mean, him and the Chiefs can go three-peat. They would make Andy Reid proud.
And also, they have a great defensive coach in Steve Spagnuolo as well. Because every time in the playoffs, they always seem to know what's going on and with the plays. He always brings up a good scheme, and nobody can beat him.
Nope, nobody can beat Mahomes. It's like nobody could beat Joe Montana, Tom Brady. It's just when you compete against those guys, you're going to lose to them big time. Okay, next question here. So this is going to go to Benjamin Dorn. Okay, Ben, how do you feel about the Super Bowl this year? A rematch between the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles. We got Mahomes versus Jalen Hurts, and then we got Travis Kelce, and then Saquon Barkley's first ever time in his career going to the Super Bowl. How do you think the Philadelphia Eagles need to prove? Same with Saquon Barkley. What does Saquon Barkley need to prove himself in this Super Bowl matchup coming up? Because he had 3 touchdowns the last game in the NFC Championship game against the Commanders. What does Saquon need to do in order to win?
What a matchup we have here, Nick. I mean, talk about two great teams going at it in New Orleans in a couple weeks here. I think Saquon Barkley has nothing to prove after the season, win or loss. I mean, he's too good, Nick. He's too good. I think this matchup is going to come down to how can the Chiefs stop Saquon outside of the tackles. He gets in space, he's gone. You saw it against the Bills. James Cook had a monster game. Can the Chiefs stop Barkley outside the tackles? I think the biggest factor for the Kansas City Chiefs is going to be Patrick Mahomes' legs. The Eagles have a great pass rush. If Mahomes can get out, scramble, and rush for 50 yards like he did against Buffalo, I think the Kansas City Chiefs will be just all right. I think it's going to come down to how does Barkley, he's going to do his thing, but how are the Chiefs going to stop him outside of the tackles? And how is Patrick Mahomes going to utilize his legs in this Super Bowl, Nick? And I think that two things will be the deciding factor of this game.
Okay, Ben. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts. Another question I want to ask you, Ben. What does Jalen Hurts need to do along with AJ Brown in this game? And you've got the offense. I mean, you got Jalen Carter, who is a rookie on the defense. What does Jalen Carter need to do for the Eagles defense? He is a rookie. What do the Eagles defense need to do against this Chiefs offense? Because the Chiefs offense is going to look scary. And the Eagles defense, I know they got Jalen Carter, they got other guys. What do the Eagles defense need to do?
Well, I'll start with Jalen Hurts. I think Jalen Hurts, he'll be just fine. Super Bowl against the Chiefs. A couple years ago, he fumbled and stuff like that. Philadelphia's in trouble. I think Jalen Carter is going to be Jalen Carter. I mean, he's one of the best defensive tackles in the league. He'll get to Mahomes. But I think it comes down to how will Mahomes utilize his legs. Because it seems like every play Kansas City runs, it's easy. So how fast can you get to Mahomes, and can you keep him in the pocket and not let him run? Because he's dangerous when he rolls out and he runs. So I think that's the biggest thing. I think Jalen Carter will do his thing. Well, how will Mahomes run will be the difference maker, Nick.
All right, Ben. Well, thank you for sharing that. Okay, now we're going to go to Ryan Hilgendorf. Okay, Ryan. So, did you think Jaden Daniels, at a rookie, had a chance to go to the Super Bowl? I mean, honestly, as a Bears fan like me and Ben, we remember that Hail Mary game. That was the first ever time I see of Jaden Daniels. I mean, he brought his team to the playoffs, to the NFC Championship game. Did you think Jaden Daniels had a chance as a rookie to go to the Super Bowl?
No, man, he did. I think he was the best rookie there, best rookie quarterback in the class. Lots of people are saying he should have gone number one. And we saw his days at LSU. He was a beast. Nobody could stop him. They beat Detroit big time. And I thought they were going to come in and get that done. It was the fumbles and turnovers. They had 3 in that game. And if it wasn't for those, I think they would have won that game. You had a close one after the halftime. Austin Eckler gave up a fumble. There was another one fumble, the kick return. So if you take those out, maybe it takes down 14, 21 points. Commanders are right in that game.
I would have to agree, Hilgi. I mean, Jaden Daniels, he played a great game during the first and second half. I mean, the defense for Philly was just tough. You know, Jaden Daniels was going to get sacked. Eagles defense is scary to be. When you're playing offense, whatever team you play for against the Eagles, they're going to come hungry and they're going to just come at you no matter what, because you got Jalen Carter, you got other guys. Their defense is scary to beat.
Oh, yeah. And I think what were you saying?
Yeah, and there's no way it's because they draft so many guys, they sign more guys for the defense. The Eagles got a lot of money. I mean, they got great ownership. They know that they're not going to play games when it comes to defense. They're going to get the right guys.
Oh, yeah. And I think also the other big thing is, too, the Commanders, they have a really young team. So this is most of those guys' first time ever being in this championship game. Obviously, they got Coach Dan Quinn, who led the Falcons to the Super Bowl back almost 10 years ago. But, man, with the Eagles, they've been there 2 years ago. And then some of those guys, if they were there, they won it 8 years ago against the Patriots. So they just have that DNA. They know how to win. And the Commanders, they just weren't ready yet.
Yeah. I mean, at least Zach Ertz had a great season as a tight end. I mean, he used to play in Philly, but then when he gets traded to the Commanders, I mean, he had more touchdowns this season than he did in Philly. I mean, Jaden Daniels just throws Zach Ertz the ball. You know, it's like Jaden Daniels and Zach Ertz are probably good teammates together when it comes to, throwing the ball to the tight end or Jaden Daniels running it. He had a great season, though.
They did. They had a great season.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to go with NFL coaching that's new, that's coming up next season. We're going to start off by asking Ben Dorn. So we're going to go with the new Chicago Bears the new Chicago Bears coaching. I'm talking head coach and other positions. So Ben Dorn, I know I'm a Bears fan, just like you. So, what do you think about the Chicago Bears new coaching staff, like head coach Ben Johnson, Antoine L, the wide receiver coach, and then Cameron Davis, head defensive line coach, quarterback coach JT Barrett, and defensive coordinator coach. What is this? I don't see it, but sorry if I didn't have any, but okay, Ben, will this help improve Caleb Williams and the Bears offense and Montez Sweat defense better next season? Can they be the next Jaden Daniels and Commanders like they were this season? And do you think that can they pull off a good game and win to be the best in the NFC North, Ben? Do you think the Bears can prove that with that new coaching?
Yeah, I mean the hire is great. I mean Ben Johnson, he'll come in and he'll make an immediate difference in Caleb Williams' game. I really like the hire. I mean I think he's the best coach in this cycle. Um, but last year and stuff like that, and the year before that, I really wish the Chicago Bears went out and got Jim Harbaugh or Sean Payton, a proven head coach that's done it before. The last 3 out of 4 Bears hires were first-year head coaches, and we haven't been good. We haven't been good, and but I do like this hire. Aside from that, I do like this hire. I think the Bears will struggle, though. I think they will. I think the NFC North is just too talented right now. And I feel like the Chicago Bears over the last couple of years really messed up their roster. I mean, when you think about building a team, you build it inside out. I feel like the Bears built it outside in. And I just don't believe that's a recipe for success in the NFL. The game starts in the trenches. If you could build the trenches well, everything else will follow. But I do think the Chicago Bears will unfortunately end up 3rd or 4th in the NFC North next year and once again miss the playoffs, Nick. What do you think?
Well, Ben, I mean, that's tough to know, but if they can change the plays for the offense and then draft more alignment that Caleb needs, I mean, doesn't matter who they get, but what matters is just that if we go for the 11th pick in the NFL draft this year, we better just draft O linemen. But my other question is that since they're having an interest in drafting Ashton Genty, a running back from Boise State University, how do you think that will help the Bears offense? Because you got DeAndre Swift, you got Roshan Johnson. Do you think the Bears deserve to draft Ashton Genty, or do they deserve to draft more O linemen and offensive tackles?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question we need to draft, offensive linemen and defensive tackles. Genty's a great player, and of course he'd make a difference. But when you paid Swift that much money, you just have to keep him on the field. I wish Chicago Bears spent about $5 more million to pick up Saquon Barkley last offseason. That would have been a nice pickup, and he would have made a huge difference moving forward, especially with Ben Johnson coming in. I think you have to go. You gotta build in the trenches. I think you got to take an offensive lineman, and you got to give your quarterback more time to throw the ball because he was the most sacked quarterback in the league last year, and you don't want to see a second-year player get sacked like that again. And really, I'm not going to say ruin his confidence, but you want his jersey clean next year, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, if Caleb is going to have a great season next year and the Bears are going to have great coaching under Ben Johnson and the new coaching staff, I mean, honestly, if Caleb's going to throw like 4 or 5 touchdown passes, whatever he throws, it doesn't matter. I might have to buy myself a Caleb Williams jersey. What about you, Ben? Do you think you're going to do the same if Caleb improves himself better next season? Do you think you'll buy a Caleb jersey as well?
Nick, I think we have to already. He beat the Packers this year.
Yeah,
I think we might just have to. I think we might just have
order it before the season, maybe before preseason and regular season, to see what he does.
Yeah, Nick, what are your thoughts on the Ben Johnson hire? What are your takes on that? Do you like it? Do you not like it? What do you think?
I liked it. I predict that it was going to happen. Like I've said it many times, hire Ben Johnson, and I called it. Nobody believed me at first. He said he was going to go to the Jaguars or the Raiders, but I told everyone he was going to go to the Bears. When I made that video on Instagram, that when I said I told you guys that Ben Johnson was going to be the new Bears head coach, I mean, now people believe me now. I mean, if some of the Bears fans are going to watch this video, I mean, it's like I called it at first because, Caleb wanted Ben Johnson. And I know that video when they prank called him that it was not Ben Johnson, but now when Caleb's wish came true that Ben Johnson came, I mean, the dream happened. And when he like got into Hallis Hall, he was telling everyone get back to work. That was the one of the most funniest things I ever saw Ben Johnson. His press conference was great. Everybody was excited to see what Ben Johnson's gonna do for the Chicago Bears team. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, we got training camp coming up and then in like the summertime. So, I mean, are you planning to go to training camp, Ben?
Yeah, I'm in, Nick. And again, about the Ben Johnson hire, I think it's a very good hire. I would have loved Harbaugh, Sean Payton. I would have loved any of those, but I think Ben Johnson this cycle is the best head coach on the market. And you called it, Nick. We got him, man. We got him.
Yeah, we might have to go to training camp over the summer and maybe a game in Chicago, see how this team's going to do, man. I mean, I'm down to go.
Only if we're going in December.
Yeah, I mean, if they play the Packers or any team, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All right, I got a quick question for both of you. So with Ben Johnson switching from the Lions to the Bears, do you think the Lions will take a dip on offense because they were the highest scoring offense in the league this season, and they're losing their OC Ben Johnson, and who knows who they're going to replace him with? But Johnson goes to the Bears. What do you think will happen to the Lions?
Nick, take it away.
I mean, they got Dan Campbell, the head coach. I mean, Dan Campbell still got the same plays for the offense and defense, but I don't know who the Lions are going to hire for offensive coordinator, for wide receivers, and quarterback. I mean, you got Jared Goff, you got Sam Laporta, you got David Montgomery. For the defense, you got one of the top, Aiden Hutchinson. So I don't know what's going to happen. I mean, Dan Campbell's still the best head coach right now for the team, but I don't know who they're going to get for other positions for that team. So we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, I hope the Detroit Lions just take a little step back. I mean, they're just too good.
Yeah.
Just give us a chance. Give us a chance. But they got so much, talent on that team. Speed. Dave Montgomery in the goal line. Jahmyr Gibbs is just unreal. I don't know if they take a step back, they're just going to be the Lions. I think like Ben Johnson said, for 3+ years they're going to be an unreal team, and I really hope they get it done. I know I'm a Bears fan, but I hope they get it done just for that city. So,
yeah.
What do you think, Ryan?
Yeah, what do you think?
I think they'll still be that dog to beat, but I just think with them losing their OC and DC this season, I think it'll be a little bit of a step back because they're going to have to learn some new offenses because Johnson's been there the past 3-4 years, so they might be having to switch up some different plays, but I think they'll still be that team to beat, though.
Yeah,
so we got
I early. Agree. Sorry.
So an early Sorry, Nick. So I want to make some predictions, like an early January prediction. Who wins the NFC North next year? I know it's way too early, pre-free agent, pre-draft, but just a wild take. Who's winning the NFC North next year?
I would say the Minnesota Vikings can have a chance to win the NFC North if they start J.J. McCarthy. Or if I'm not mistaken, maybe the Detroit Lions will again. I mean, as a Bears fan, I don't think we're going to get there yet, but I think the Detroit Lions can win the NFC North again, just like they did this season.
That's a great question. I think, in my opinion, if I'm taking one, I like the Packers to win it. I think the Packers, that team they were third, but they still won 10+ games. And I think Packers, they just got that complete team. They've been there. Lions, I think they'll take a little bit of a step back. They'll still be good. I think they'll get second. Minnesota, it depends on if they bring back Darnold or if it's JJ's turn. But I think you'll see Minnesota expectations weren't good at the beginning of the season. They blew them out of the water. But I think next season, I think Minnesota will go down. I could see Minnesota at 4. I could see Chicago at 3.
Yeah. I wouldn't mind top 3, man. I mean, if Chicago goes third, man, I mean, I wouldn't be upset at all unless if we try to become a wild card team. But if we're going to be a wild card team, if we play like the Eagles or Commanders, that's going to be a scary matchup and it's going to be tough. So
I'm taking I'm taking the Green Bay Packers to win the NFC North next season. I think the Vikings take a step back. I think the Lions. I think they'll lose some. I think they'll lose some games next year. And I think the Green Bay Packers are going to take the North next year. It seems like these teams flip. The Bears got it in 2018. The Packers won a division with Rodgers 2020 and 2021. Detroit, Minnesota won in, I just think the Packers, I think it's their year to win the North. I agree with you, Ryan, for sure.
I mean, if you and Ryan are right, we'll see what happens next season. See what the Packers do. Jordan Love just got to stay disciplined along with the offense. I mean, Jaden Reed, man, one of the best wide receivers in the game. I'll love to
And
draft him
guess,
again, probably next season. I mean, he's one of the best teams you can throw the ball to. I mean, him and Jordan Love, when it comes to Jordan Love and Jaden Reed, when he throws the football to Jaden Reed will score anytime when it comes
we
to every quarter.
and we always talk about the Detroit running backs, but
David Montgomery.
Green Bay might have a good duo next year. They had a running back injured, and no one talks about him.
Nope.
So it's going to be Josh Jacobs and do y'all remember? Ryan, you take it away.
Ryan, take it away, Ryan.
I don't remember who the other one was. Who was it?
Yeah.
What?
All right, guys. Well, we're gonna move on to another question. Okay.
Well, hold on, Ben. You gotta say who it was.
Who the running back is?
Yeah, I know Jacobs. Who was the other one?
Ashton Genty.
What if Boise State wanted to bring Ashton Genty to the Packers? Do you think the Packers would want to draft Ashton Genty? He could be a good rookie next season if they draft him.
Man, if they draft him, it's gonna look like the Lions.
Yeah, it is gonna look. I mean, the Packers can be like the Detroit Lions, just like Montgomery. All right, guys. Well, listen. I'm gonna ask this question. This is gonna go to Hilgi first. Next one is the New England Patriots new head coaching. So Patriots get Drake May. Well, excuse me. If I'm mistaken you guys,
real quick,
please
Nick,
don't get mad at me.
Nick.
So the Patriots
I forgot about another running back they have, A.J. Dillon on the Green Bay Packers.
A.J. Dillon, man, I can't believe you said
I'm sorry for interrupting. So maybe not Genty, but
okay.
Josh Jacobs and A.J. Dillon. But take it away, Nick. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no worries, man. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the Patriots' new coaching staff. So Patriots got head coach Mike Vrabel, a former New England Patriot player, and he was a champion with Tom Brady. We got the OPC Thomas Brown, and then we got offensive coordinator Josh McDaniels and offensive line coordinator Doug Marron. And now with Drake May, who's no longer a rookie next season, how do you think Drake May and the Patriots are going to be under this new coaching staff? Do you think Mike Vrabel and Drake May are going to get along good? And who do you think the Patriots are going to sign and draft during the offseason? We'll start with Hilgi.
I think this team, they'll turn it around. I think last year was the first year that we hadn't seen Belichick in the system after 20-plus years. So they had the new coach, Gerard Mayo. I don't know if they didn't really seem like they gave him a true shot, but I think they knew all along that they wanted Vrabel. And I think that signing is great. Vrabel, that was a beast down in Tennessee. He led that team to an AFC championship a few seasons ago when they lost to the Chiefs. But, man, he's a dog. And then they get Josh McDaniels back. He's ran that offense for multiple years with Brady. And I think we'll see some shining stars with Drake May as we did back in the day with Brady in that offense. And then, as you said, for free agency and trades, I think we'll see a big pickup. I think they'll get a big wide receiver or maybe a running back. I think that offense needs a little bit more star power for Drake May, but to compete with the Bills and the Dolphins and the Jets, but they'll be there.
Yeah, we'll just have to figure out what happens. Ben, what do you think is going to happen with the Patriots this offseason? Who do you think the Pats are going to get?
I agree with Ryan. I think they got to go out and get a wide receiver. I think that's number one on their offseason agenda. But I also think they trade back in the draft. Let the Raiders come up and get Sanders if he's there. Trade back, and I think you go O-lineman to protect your young quarterback, Drake May. Vrabel, he played in the trenches. He understands it. I think you take an O-lineman there. Trade back, take an O-lineman, and see what happens, really. I think they could be a good team. It's going to be tough with Buffalo in that division, but I can see a wild card coming in the next couple of years for the Patriots.
Well, also they have one of the top picks. Would you trade back, or if Travis Hunter is there? I've heard Hunter maybe to the Pats. Would you take him though? That's a questionable decision too.
It's a big decision, yeah, for sure. I think it all depends like how much the Raiders or whoever is going to offer in that trade.
Yeah,
maybe just take him. Maybe just take the risk. Not a risk. He's a very good player. Who knows? I don't really know what you do if you're New England. I think I like what they're building there. You just got to get a wide receiver. You just got to go out and get a wide receiver. And you almost, wish if you're the Patriots if like Malik Neighbors came out this year instead of last year, because that would have been a huge addition for Drake May. But excited to see what they do. It's gonna be awesome to watch coming soon.
Yeah, I would agree. If they're gonna go get a wide receiver, if they're gonna build their offense or defense, it's gonna be a while for them to get to that wild card spot. But Mike Vrabel needs to discipline his guys, and he needs to have the coaching staff do the same. Mike Vrabel's a winner and a champion. He was a beast in the Tennessee Titans. Let's just hope to see what the Patriots can do next season. Okay, another question. Moving on. Okay, will the Raiders draft Shedeur Sanders out of the Colorado Buffs? Let's start with Hilgi.
No, this is a big decision. I think Shedeur had the hype because obviously his dad was his coach, so that's a big reason. I think Shedeur was good, but he also did have the Heisman winner Travis Hunter within the past few years. And this will be a new system. It's the NFL. I think depending on the team, if it's the Raiders, I don't know. I think they might be all right, but he's still gonna have to go through the Chiefs, Mahomes, Herbert, the Chargers. Then you got Bo Nix of the Broncos. That's a tough division. And if he's going there, I just feel like they need a win now quarterback almost. But if you want long-term future, I think Shedeur's all right, or I would take Cam Ward from Miami.
Yeah, it all depends what quarterback the Raiders get. Now, another question for you, Hilgi, and I know we have one of our friends, Spencer Goldberg, who's a big-time Alabama Crimson Tide fan. I like them too in the SEC. What do you think Jalen Milroe, as one of the top quarterbacks that he was in the SEC this season, what team do you think he goes to in the NFL? He's not going to go to the Raiders. Let's think about that. What team do you think Jalen Milroe is going to go to?
This is a tough question. I think you got the Raiders who need a quarterback. Tennessee needs one. Both New York teams need one. I could see him falling a little bit to maybe end of the first round, maybe even early second. I think, if anything, I could see one of the New York teams, preferably I think the Jets, take him.
Yeah, and what happens with Aaron Rodgers? My guess, he should retire, and you let the new quarterback in like Jalen Milroe. He can play good as a rookie. What do you think, Ben? Do you think Aaron Rodgers should retire and then allow Jalen Milroe to be the new quarterback of the Jets?
I want to see Aaron Rodgers play one more season.
Okay, why do you think you want to see Aaron Rodgers play one more season?
I just feel like he's gotta go off right. I feel like last year just wasn't it. A lot of things didn't go their way. They didn't play well. I don't think Rodgers played like unbelievably bad. I think he could play better. 2 years off that Achilles tear. I think he comes back one more year and has a good season with the Jets and calls it. And I think Jalen Milroe will go to the Seattle Seahawks. And he'll take over after Geno Smith after a year or two.
Okay.
Well, here's a hot take for you. I think with the Rodgers thing, obviously the Jets, but I don't know if they want him full. A hot take would be I think Rodgers comes back for another year or two. I could see him going to San Fran and backing up either Purdy or maybe making the jump over for him for a season. With that offense, you put Rodgers in there, they're bound to get one.
Yeah, I mean, I would
Love it.
agree with
Love it.
Hilgi. Hold on. I would agree with Hilgi on this. I mean, if Rodgers wants to back up Purdy, just to like play for, I don't know, one more season, it all depends on how many more years he wants to play. If he goes to the Niners, the 49ers have an NFL veteran quarterback. I don't know if Rodgers would be like a backup or a starter, but you got a veteran quarterback to back up Brock Purdy. I mean, the offense, you got Christian McCaffrey, Deebo Samuel, you've got George Kittle. I mean, if it happens, I mean, good for them, but I don't know what's going to happen with Aaron Rodgers.
I don't think Rodgers comes back to send him back. Rodgers is
Honestly,
playing.
I mean, if Rodgers doesn't come back and if he retires, I mean, he's probably going to compete in the Masters tournament in golf because that guy's a big time golfer.
Master, whoa, it's a big change of events.
Yeah, exactly. Another question I want to ask you guys: Travis Hunter, who won the Heisman, what team does Travis Hunter from the Colorado Buffs goes to, and where does he get drafted to?
I think he goes to Cleveland.
Okay. What about you, Hilgi?
I don't know. That's tough because there's a lot of since he's a two-way star with wide receiver and cornerback. A lot of people think that he should only choose one position, so it depends on what position he chooses because it'll be hard to be both unless you're like Dion back in the day. But
Yeah.
he's gonna have to choose. Most likely they're gonna want him to choose one or the other. And realistically, I think he just goes to the Patriots. I think they get him. He'll be, I think, top 5 for sure.
Yeah. If he goes to the Patriots, it would be great, though, because you got Mike Vrabel. I mean, Mike Vrabel can coach Travis Hunter really good. I mean, Drake May and Travis Hunter will get along good. I mean, we'll have to see what happens for this Patriots or whatever team Travis Hunter go to. It doesn't matter. But what matters is that once he gets drafted, he just better have great teammates with him at all times and great support. Okay. Another question is, what do you guys think of the Raiders signing Pete Carroll as the new head coach? How do you think that will impact the Raiders next season? Because I know Pete Carroll took a break for one season from coaching. Then he decides to come back. The Raiders hired him. How do you think the Raiders will be under Pete Carroll next season? Let's start with Hilgi.
I think they'll be decent. I think it'll be. I think he needed that 1 year off, maybe reset his mind, refocus. Come back with a good team. He'll be good again. I think the Raiders. You got great coaches in that division with Harbaugh, Andy Reid, Sean Payton, and now Pete Carroll. And there's going to be lots of dogfights in there. And I think Carroll will get it done. And they've got Brady as a part-time owner. He'll be able to advise them for who to get for quarterback. And then we've seen Pete. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. Lots of playoff appearances with the Seahawks. So I think he'll be able to do good with this team.
Yeah, the AFC West is going to be fun to watch next season because when you got like the Chargers with Harbaugh, you've got the Chiefs with Andy Reid, you got the Raiders with Pete Carroll. Yeah, the AFC, and then you got Sean Payton with the Broncos. The AFC West is going to be fun to watch next season. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, about Pete Carroll, man. Pete might just want a payday. I don't know how you're going to win in that division with Mahomes, the Chargers, and Denver. I don't know if Pete needs a paycheck, but I'm taking the Kansas City Chiefs till they don't win the division. I mean, they have the best player in the world. They got the best coach in the world. How do you beat them? You don't beat them until you beat them.
Nope, there's no way you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes. He's one of the most talented players. It's like, you should, you never beat a Tom Brady or Joe Montana. Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to beat that guy at all. When
Nope.
you
And
play the
he,
Chiefs,
you think about it, this is probably his worst year starting, and he lost one game the whole year. And you got to give props to the Chiefs front office. I mean, just revamp the whole offensive line, the defense. They're gonna be good for a while. I mean, a long time.
yeah, of course, they're going to be good for a long time. I mean, Patrick Mahomes is a Kansas City Chief for life. I mean, he's not wanting to go to another team. He's probably going to want another contract after. They're probably going to extend him. That's what it is
I
about
think
Patrick Mahomes.
one thing's kind of interesting about this Chiefs team. I'm thinking about longevity, and I'm thinking like, how long will Andy Reid coach for?
Yeah.
That was a big question mark after they won Super Bowls. Is he going to retire? He has nothing to prove, so I just don't know what's going to happen to that longevity. But I'm sure the front office will figure it out because they're good at what they do.
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
always
like
good.
Andy got Kelsey too, he's 35. I mean, obviously he's still one of the best tight ends in the league, but how much more can he take those hits?
Yeah, I mean,
Yep.
look at Travis Kelce nowadays. I mean, he's going to be in Happy Gilmore 2, where he plays a waitress. And, he was in commercials with Patrick Mahomes. I mean, he's dating Taylor Swift, and, he's just one of the best tight ends in the game. Then you got another really good player, Isaiah Pacheco from Puerto Rico, who's a running back. I mean, that when he came back from injury, he played like a man. He told himself that he was not going to give up. Isaiah Pacheco, he just came out to play as a running back.
And they also got Xavier Worthy and Rashee Rice too, so I think they'll be fine in the future.
Yeah, they're going to be fine no matter what. Okay, another question for you guys. We're going to go right here. What are the top Okay, what do you think are the top 5 sports cities in America right now that are the best? Let's start with NFL. What do you think is the top 5 best NFL cities in America? Let's start with Hilgi.
Well, is this like the best teams or just like with fan experience, everything in
Fan
there?
experience. We're going to go with fan experience.
If I'm going, I think Kansas City. This is no order, but I think top 5. I think Kansas City's up there.
Mm-hmm.
I think Seattle, New England, Detroit, and Green Bay.
Okay, Ben, what do you think?
This is this is a tough question. I think number 1 is Philly. I think number 2 is Detroit. I think 3 is Green Bay. I'm putting Seattle at 4, and I'm going to go with Chicago or Kansas City at 5.
Okay, for me though, I'm going to go Kansas City 1, Chicago 2, Green Bay at 3, Philly at 4, and then at 5, I would say probably the Buffalo Bills. Bills fans, Bills Mafia.
Yeah,
That's what I would go with.
I forgot about Buffalo. Nick, that's such a hard question.
I know. Yeah. Well, anyways, guys, that's all what we have for today, and thank you guys. Please watch this video. Please go like, subscribe on my YouTube channel. Go follow my sports page, Sports News with Nick Esco. And please follow this guy, Locker Room Debates, on YouTube and on Instagram. He needs more followers and subscribers, just like I do. Guys, thank you for being on my show. And we will see you next time. And please, guys, comment down below on what episode you want to see next. And please DM me or Hilgi what you guys want to see next on an episode, and give us some tips and ideas what you guys want us to talk about. Please comment down below. Thank you guys for being on the show. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks for having us, Nick.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night. Bye-bye.